Hello, hello. So Melody here. As promised, part 2 of our Washington journey. Hope you like it. So we pick up here, just left Stevenson, Washington, and we are driving along State Highway 14, otherwise known as the Lewis and Clark Highway. It's a beautiful scenic drive all along the Columbia River. We found a spot to park the RV and actually go into the river. It was this park, and as you can see, there's tons of windsurfers, and rightfully so because it was so windy. It was really fun just watching the windsurfers do their thing. The kids had a good old time playing in the water, but it was a cool little park. Back on the Lewis and Clark Highway, we noticed that the surroundings changed pretty drastically, really quickly too. But along the way, we found these history markers, and we learned a couple of things from these history markers. So this area, the Great Falls, was actually an area where the Native American tribes would gather and do their trading and socializing here. Now, we also learned that on the Lewis and Clark expedition, these guys had a little bit of trouble getting down the cliffs with their canoe. So that was two little interesting history facts that we learned along the way. And I mentioned the area changed pretty drastically, and as you can see, this is the desert area in the state of Washington. To be honest, I didn't know there was a desert area, so we are always learning something new, no matter how old we are. Our next stop was at Trinity Gardens. It was a lavender farm in George, Washington. And yes, there is a town called George, Washington. Now, this farm was absolutely beautiful and breathtaking. Even had a little playground area for the kiddos that they just absolutely enjoyed. Now, we were able to stay here through our Harvest Host membership, and the owners of this beautiful farm were so kind and generous and very welcoming. We had a lovely time here, and it smelled amazing. I love the smell of lavender. So if you do enjoy lavender, this is definitely the place to be. Now, the cherry on top of this wonderful visit was here. This beautiful little stream that they shared with the apple orchards right next door. I had coffee here in the morning, and it was just a wonderful way to start your day. Even though I could have spent many days there at the lavender farm, we decided to head off to our next destination. Now, our next destination was actually in the city, and I'm so glad we were able to visit this city, but it is none other than the city of Spokane. There was a beautiful balance to this city. It had the hustle and bustle, but it met nature's beauty, and it was paired so beautifully. Now, this is the Riverfront Park there in Spokane, and it is a ginormous and beautiful park. And of course, the kiddos had to check out the skate park. Right next to the skate park was the playground. Now, this playground was pretty big. They had slides and swings and even little musical instruments located on the playground. But the kids had a wonderful time here. They were all smiles. After working up a sweat at the skate park and playground, they were able to cool off in the splash pad area. They climbed up and down these rocks so many times, went down the slide, which, because they were wet and the other kids were wet, turned into a water slide. But they were pretty much in heaven here at Riverfront Park. Now this is Spokane River, and the river runs right through the park, so you have these beautiful bridges allowing you to see the river from an unbelievable view. Our next stop was in Mead, Washington, at the Hidden Acres family farm. This was a fourth generation family farm, and once again, we were able to stay here through our Harvest Host membership. They were raising geese, ducks, sheep, little bunnies, little cute little bunnies, and they even had a pig on site. Walking through the apple trees, the peach trees, the cherry trees, it felt like a scene in the movies. Absolutely beautiful, so tranquil, so peaceful. There was nothing there to bother you. You were just one with the fruit trees. And that wraps up our Washington adventure. Thank you to the state of Washington for being so welcoming and so beautiful. Off to the next state. Love you all. Be kind.